So let's start this podcast and hope for the best.
From the top.
From the top! Sunglasses acquired. Okay, so this is the second TeamNeosphere podcast. I'm fucking excited to be doing this. Because we've got Alexis here and we're actually on the second podcast, guys. I never thought we'd get this far. So today we have myself, ThatNumberzHunter, we have BerserkerSoul with us.
Michael.
Power to the people.
Yes.
And we have Alexis, MachinaEmperor. So yeah, it's another 3-man podcast, which is hopefully going to be good. So what have we all been up to in the week? Just anything at all?
Yu-Gi-Oh wise or just?
Well, it's up to you. We've got to make content. These people have to listen to something.
Very hard decent profits selling cards. Same shit, different day.
Yeah, to be honest, I think a lot of people are getting out of the game, or just selling a lot of their stuff. For example, I'm selling another one of my boxes for like 45 quid, so that's quite good. And then I'm selling Thought. I might be selling Thought Ruler and Chaos King Archfiends for 12 quid, but I'm
on a side note,
when you consider the fact that Archfiends are on the up at the moment, maybe selling them is not possibly the greatest idea, because I mean they're worth like the Thought Ruler's worth like 10 at the moment anyway, but like, who knows, in a couple of months it might be worth a hell of a lot more. So
True, but you don't have a chance for reprints and all that.
yeah, to be honest, it is one of the fabled reprints for the next wave, alongside Draco Sack and Big Eye. Those are genuinely...
And Utopia, that thing badly needs a reprint.
Oh, fuck off. Yeah. To be honest, another Utopia reprint would just be like, no, Konami. You can get away with it so many times, like, reprinting Stardust a dozen times works, because Stardust...
Dark Magician too.
And Dark Magician and Blue Eyes, because they are the classics. Utopia is from Zexal, which nobody gives a fuck about.
They haven't really done that with Neos, have they? Elemental Hero Neo.
No, they printed once in Power the Duelist.
Common in there, and then just...
And then I think they reprinted it in the Legendary Collection too.
Yeah, I think it came out as a rare or something. It was also a secret at one point.
Yeah, he was a secret at one point. He was a Tim promo. Tim promo for the Collector's Tin Season 3. Secret's the only version you need.
I've actually also been looking at the new spoiler for Astral Pack 3.
Oh god, no.
So yeah, that's looking good.
For the people listening, have you got that with you? Have you got a copy of...
I don't actually have a copy on hand, but from memory, I can tell you the 3 ultimates were My Stroke, Atlantean Marksman, and Fire Formation Tanky.
Isn't Marksman the one that just got hit recently? So
no, that's Dragoons.
Yeah. Oh, and Diva, that's it.
Yeah.
Diva and Dragoons got hit. Yeah, so that's
fine.
And there's also a few other really interesting comments, such as a Vampire Dragon, so of course that's going to go towards the new upcoming Vampire support. I don't remember much else in terms of comments. I do remember some of the supers, like Serene Psychic Witch, Mermail Biscuit, really happy to see that.
I know that...
And a few really strange ones, like Spellbook of Crescent, that was really strange. No, it wasn't Crescent, it was Starport.
Worth a reprint, to be honest.
Yeah. It's been used enough.
With the Astral Pack 3, something. The only things I remember is that we're getting OCG exclusives, Curtain of the Dark World.
And Camion Wizard.
I think Camion Wizard was originally released in, because originally there was we got the 2 different versions. America got a version of Legend of Blue Eyes, and we got one. I think America got Camion Wizard in Magic Ruler.
Probably.
Possibly. This is just speculation.
That's Magic Ruler, people. Not Spell Ruler.
Yeah, it's Magic Ruler. SRL just doesn't seem to make any sense.
Yeah.
So, it seems as though we've all had very interesting weeks, except for me.
You can't use Magic in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's copyright.
Yes, we can.
Dark Magic.
Actually, I've got a Monster Reborn that still says Magic.
Yeah,
on
likewise.
It feels good to have those Magic cards.
Oh, I can't even check.
Can't you say Dark Spell Attack, have you?
No.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't, does it?
Alright, so shall we move on to the podcast?
Is this a podcast?
The actual topics, I mean.
Well, next we've got the Yu-Gi-Oh! News. We've got to do the Yu-Gi-Oh! News, it's important. Although there's nothing really that new about it, there is the fact that this is going to be a 3-month format. It's coming out September and it's ending in December. Now, in my opinion, this is just because Konami wants to see how long it takes before they actually have to ban the big Dragon Rulers. And I agree with this, although I disagree with them not doing it now. To be honest, they should have done that.
I've been able to have their fun with like Dragon Ball plants and all that.
Yeah, it's just like, let's let them have their fun.
Well,
but come Christmas, screw them all.
I'm actually glad the babies are gone, because this makes the actual Dragon Ruler deck less viable, and it makes the Dragon Rulers themselves more useful as attribute supporters.
Yeah, just like they're not necessarily boss monsters, but
not really. And I guess to some extent, but I don't see them as boss monsters personally.
Blaster, that's about it.
yeah, Blaster perhaps. The others perhaps not. But sort of like it would fit with the archetype. The most sorry, not archetype, but most archetypes have got a dragon type monster as their boss monster. Light Swarm being the most annoying and obvious of all of these with their Judgment Dragons and their with their Judgment Dragons.
Drop triple JD.
Oh God.
Good game.
Yeah. Well, no, you have to nerf the field first and then some drop the other two. But yeah,
that's just a blank field, in which case.
Yeah, in which case, fine.
Oh God, the face I'd make if they just do triple J in 8,000.
Triple JB? No. Okay,
you having a bad dream over there?
so let's go straight to product placement. I mean topics. Who would like to go first? Because I'm leaving mine till last because I've actually got.
Shall we each say what we're going to be talking about?
Yeah, I think that would make sense actually.
Okay, so Ed, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about number 106 as a YCS promo card, and is it destroying Number Hunters collections?
For those who don't know, what is the name of 106?
Oh, they keep changing its fucking name. I never. I
Oh,
think
right.
it's. I think at the moment it's. I think at the moment it's God Palm.
God,
Really?
Godfist.
Okay.
That's from Ergo's, isn't it? That's from Ergo's. Stop it. They're not paying us to advertise them. We're not going to do it.
My topic's going to be the comparison of themed and non-themed decks.
Okay.
So basically looking at those.
As in when they come up against each other, or
No, just
in general.
just the benefits and disadvantages of both.
Okay.
Mine will be just the current meta right now. What's on the rise, the potential decks like coming up from the woodwork, because the ban has slowed everything down to like a nice safe pace.
Can I just put it into this bit that anybody who mentions Dragon Rulers will get a slap.
They've been slowed down to a play.
Basically, Dragon Rulers has just become plant dragons, and that's ridiculous. Still,
Not sure if anyone's downloaded the deck packet on DevPro, but it basically, for those of you who don't know, just gives you a bunch of starter decks to play with. One of them is a Dragon Ruler deck, and the name of the deck is No Skill Required.
oh, actually no,
That's
I had
classic.
a thing.
Yes,
I actually
it
had
is.
the flowchart for how to play Dragon Rulers somewhere. I'm just going to find that.
Big Eye Draco. Did it work? No. Lol. Yes,
Oh
it
yeah.
did.
Michael, would you like to get started with your topic while I'm?
Sure. So basically, when players are deciding what decks to build, one of the main decisions they come up with is: am I going to build a theme deck such as, well, more obvious ones, Blackwings, Mermels, or I guess Gravekeepers?
Not
But basically decks would share like a common name and actually have support for each other. Or am I going to build a non-themed deck? And by non-themed deck, I'm talking about something like plants, zombies, or Dino Rabbit, as it was. But are basically cards which work well together, but do not necessarily aren't necessarily built for that purpose. For instance, Rescue Rabbit wasn't built for Lagia and Dolka. It's just decent
I disagree.
looking at our metagame, you would disagree, but
Konami had that in mind.
Yeah, Konami certainly had that in mind, but that's just one of the things. And it's just I'm just basically going to be talking about the advantages and disadvantages of both of these decks. I'm not sure if everyone remembers a couple of years back, but plants dominated the metagame,
Yeah.
and plants were the perfect example of a non-themed deck. Notify wasn't necessarily designed to be used with Debris Dragon, neither was Dandelion, but it worked so well together. Same with Reborn Tengu. You see Reborn Tengu being used in Fire Fist and all these other decks, but it's
Is
it
it's
Beast Warrior?
it's a Beast Warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all
You
the
can search
fighters
it-
support they get.
Search it with Tenki, yeah. So it does really work. But in my opinion, there have been three absolutely incredible non-themed decks of all time. That has been Teledad, Plant Synchro, and Dino Rabbit, Macrabbit.
Yeah.
So basically, going into this, I'm going to be talking about first the theme decks and basically the pros and cons of each. Now, I'm going to be hating on Dragon Rulers to start off with, but
Thank you.
first off, with any theme deck, they're a lot easier to make. Let's face it. I want to build Gravekeepers. I go on Deck Pro, DN, type in Gravekeeper, I instantly get all the support for that. So it's very straightforward. Same for Dragon Rulers.
Yeah.
So, and this sort of leads me to the next point. You don't need a great deal of knowledge of the game in order to play that particular deck, because the combos are just pretty much right there in front of you. You don't really need to dig deep and try to consider how am I going to anticipate my opponent's plays, how am I going to do this, do that. The plays are right there. You know them.
You're never going to get to that point in the door where you're just like, oh god, I've got no combos. What the f am I going to do?
Yeah,
this.
Exactly.
That'll be down to like
oh,
choices to put in there.
We just got mic static.
But that is you can edit that. It's okay. But yeah, that is one of the pros of the theme decks. Another thing is the qualities are generally of a higher caliber. I mean, I'm gonna use the examples of Mermails here. With Mermails, you can just discard any number, any water monster, and it still makes a viable play whenever you want to play a TS, a Megalo, or a Pike, or whatever. It still works out really well for you, and you're going to make that back in the long term. And the last point I'm going to make on this is they're less prone to bad hands, because if you're looking at decks such as Dino Rabbit, you stand the chance, or you stand the risk of drawing into your vanillas, opening up with multiple Guibers, and while that can seem okay if you're going for the beat down grind strategy, it will mess you up, especially if your opponent has a full-on back row, which is really going to screw you over. Now, if you look at other decks such as Blackwings, if Blackwings open up with multiple monsters, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Bora is sort of like the Keyzone of the deck. He can special summon himself. Kalut is amazing to have in your hand earlier on in the game. And now three of them with 3/1. It just works really well. So that's sort of what I believe players consider when they're thinking about theme decks. But this does come with a few cons. Primarily, one is they're very predictable. If I'm going into a tournament, say a YCS regional, national, whatever, I'm going to be anticipating the theme decks. I'm going to be anticipating Mermails, the Blackwings, and I'm going to know their combos off by heart, because let's face it, everybody knows them.
Yeah, that's their weakness, really, because you've seen how they play. Their standard deck to make, pretty run-the-mill sort of thing.
I'm also going to say this: with those theme decks, there's a lot less room for creativity. There is just everyone feels obliged to run. Again, I'm not hating on Blackwings, but everyone feels obliged to run 3 Shura, 3 Bora, and okay, you'll change the trap card lineup, but let's face it, people, everyone's going to run the same lineup. I know it's a winning formula.
I wouldn't.
I know it's a winning formula, but it's just the way it is, because it's a theme deck. There's not really
room for improvement.
Exactly.
It's good as it is.
And this is another point that's really annoying me. These theme decks are usually more expensive, and there's always that one secret rare, and a lot of the times there's always that one really rare card that needs to be run in 3s. If you look at Mermails, it was Megalo. If you look at what's it called, Dragon Rulers, it would have been Dracosac. But okay. Those are just 2 examples, but you get the general idea. And
because Gyrus was worth nothing.
Yeah,
and you could pick it up less than a Karibo.
Exactly.
In theory.
and then you get those theme decks where, such as like Crystal Beasts, where they're lacking some much needed support. So
Crystal Beasts have got all the support. I'm not even kidding. You've got a Rager Key. You've got basically the entire deck revolves around having all 7, so you can get out Rainbow Dragon. Or if you're running the advanced dark version of the deck, then Rainbow Dark Dragon. And there are so many ways in that deck. Oh look, all my Crystal Beasts are in the grave. Who gives a crap? Get them back with Crystal Blessing.
That's true.
The deck is pumped around helping everything out as long as you play it right.
That was just an example, but I see your point.
But if there is a time where you just play it wrong, it's abundance.
That's it, yeah. No, abundance is game ending. I don't even care. When I play Crystal Beast, I've ended a lot of games just using abundance.
No, abundance is amazing.
Yeah, it's just like the card.
No,
Stardust and Road have nothing in that.
No, it's the field. Oh, look at that! I've got a field full of Crystal Beasts. You lose.
Especially with Exceeds now, it just makes that.
That's it. Yeah.
What's that? No cards in hand.
Sorry, moving on to non-theme decks. Now, what I mean by non-theme decks is sort of like what I mentioned, like, Teledad ran the Destiny Hero engine, but it didn't necessarily need to run Krebons. It was just a very, very consistent tech. And if you look at, like, Plant Synchro or Zombies, Mizuki works really well with Zombie Master.
I've got another one, Frog Monarchs.
Frog Monarchs, yeah.
Frog Arc. Yeah,
exactly.
When that was made, that was pretty much a very creative one.
Yeah, Treeborn has a number of uses, but Of course, the one that springs to mind is for tribute summons. Monarch springs to mind for that one.
Yeah.
And so to kick us off for this one, I'm going to say that theme decks have more creativity, sort of in contrast to the last one, and they have more room for player preference. You can customize them to have however way you wish.
They're very heavy tech choices, so they're more geared towards the side decks sometimes as well. So say if you're just pretty much like if you're aiming to like ruin a few decks with the format, you'll probably like do amazing against them, but there'll be some decks which come along and you just don't stand a chance against them. Like my deck has that same sort of weakness that I just cannot stand Dragoon.
Something I'm just going to put out there while we're on the topic of themed and non-themed. Where does Earthbound Immortals stand?
That's a good question.
In your definition of themed, it's based around cards that all have the same sort of...
I would say they are
the same basic
themed.
names, but they're not a meta deck. They're not something that anybody with reason uses.
Okay, Moki are a theme deck, but you don't see them topping the
Fair
tables.
enough, yeah, good point, yes. Because they all have cards that... Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Moki could rape everyone.
Yeah.
Not that we endorse rape here.
Moki would be smacked down.
Not that we endorse rape here at TeamNeosphere Studios.
I will also say that on average, non-theme decks are generally cheaper.
Yes.
As well.
Because the cards are less used.
And one of the I think this topic is of vital importance during this point during this ban list, because you're seeing all these new decks that you wouldn't have thought about for quite a while start suddenly reappearing and having all these amazing combos, thanks to partially through Dragon Rulers and whatnot. And suddenly you have to revisit all these old strategies for having to beat them. And it's incredible.
Something I'm tempted to put out there in this case is this is possibly the first format that Earthbound Immortals are a valid deck choice.
Absolutely.
I mean, since the release of Cosmo Blazer, they released the one card that makes Earthbound Immortals seriously OP, and March of the Monarchs. Yeah, if you get an Earthbound Immortal out, more often than not you're going to get it out by Tribute Summoning. March of the Monarchs makes it indestructible.
Ah, that's nice.
Yeah, it is a really good combo.
Even if you nerf the field spell when that's out, it still stays because March protects it.
I would also say that non-theme decks, as I mentioned before, do have that very coveted element of surprise during sanctioned events. Especially since, okay, there are a number of really good decks right now. We don't really have a two deck format right now, but even so, players' side deck is going to be quite varied.
It's a one deck format. It's all going to be plant dragons.
Wait, it's much more protecting tribute monsters.
Tribute summon monsters, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, advanced summon.
Really? Who causes that?
Apparently in 5Ds they do.
Oh, God's sake.
But moving on to the disadvantages of non-theme decks. They are really hard to create.
True.
If you really want to think about the combos, you are going to have to put a lot of time and effort into them. But that being said, if you can pull it off, the results are going to be quite incredible. I'm just thinking back to a few years ago where Jeff Jones used Quick Draw Dandy Warrior in the YCS, and he managed to take that all the way to the top. And that was no one knew about those combos. The combo was right there. Debris, Dandelion with Quick Draw Synchron. The combo was right there.
Sounds natural.
Exactly. Right now it seems, how could we miss that? It was right in front of us. But the combos are right there. There is an endless sea of ideas out there, and people just really need to see that.
Now I had the chance to interview him after he won that year.
And what happened?
It was an interesting conversation. It was just basically, though, it was, they're all just sort of combos that like nobody else was using, and I thought, well, why not use them instead? And I was like, wow, you are my hero.
That being said, though, these decks are prone to inconsistency.
True.
So for all new players out there, be prepared to get to have them playtest a lot. Just because you're not necessarily going to have that winning formula right at the start. You're going to have to sort of do a bit of trial and error, to be honest.
Yeah, one thing that's annoying about, say, like those sort of non-themed decks, some of the tech choices, like say if you run, let's say, like Elemental Lords, they're the things that shoot like some of the cards up in price.
Yeah.
You do get like the one or two cards you have to go out your way for, which is really annoying.
It is true, yeah. And also, I've also noticed some of the combos do tend to be of a lower caliber than the one would consider to be theme decks. Just because you are trying to make all these combos yourself.
It does vary with that one, because Junk Doppel is just...
It does vary, but more often than not.
It's still a matter of the main decks being, the theme decks being more consistent in combos. Like, for example, you might pull off an amazing combo game 1 and then never get it again.
Exactly, because in theme decks, those combos are designed. Those cards are designed to work together.
Yeah.
You're meant to do those combos. You're meant to make those plays.
Yeah, great figures, style, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, work together. Consistency.
But yeah, I just thought this would be a really good topic for particularly new players who are trying to decide on what deck to run. Just to basically have access to that information.
Yeah. Don't start at the meta. Go there as a last resort.
Absolutely.
Start with, and this is my advice, because I've realised just recently I really suck at playing, but I'm an amazing teacher. Like, I taught Daniel how to Milner 360 how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And he plays 6 Samurais, which I'm going to admit is a meta deck. All the cards are built to sort of help each other. But the fact remains that Temple got banned, and what was his go-to? I'm going to put Obelisk in instead. And I was just like, wow, I taught this guy how to play.
I think you mean Gateway rather than Temple.
No, Gateway, yeah.
Yeah.
But my advice to anybody who's just starting the game during this format is to potentially start by using a non-themed or rogue deck, because this is going to be one of the best formats for them, with like a lot of the major stuff not being able to sort of destroy you one turn. I mean, obviously that's still a possibility, but you got the best chance of survival with a rogue deck in this format than you're ever going to get, probably.
Absolutely, and the element of surprise here is even more valid than it was last format.
That's it.
It's just, timing is everything.
Yeah, because when you win that first game, you've got the one-up of your opponent, especially when you just sweep with some crazy messed up combos, which you don't expect.
But the position you want to be in is, if you can manage to pull off a win in game 1, and then you move on to game 2, and your opponent's trying to side, you want to be in the position where they don't know what to side against you, or they're having to damage their own strategy by siding out some of their cards to put in cards which they hope will slow
An
you down.
interesting point to do with my deck right now is that I put in Zephyros as a tech because you get it back from the grave. But also, just because I'm running that, I put in Gale the Whirlwind, special summon it if I went for when I control Zephyros.
What you could do is normal summon Gale, bounce it back, summon Zephyros, and then special Gale again.
And then I've got Armor Master in my
or
deck.
Black Crow's Newt.
I've got Armor Master in an Earthbound Immortal deck.
Yeah.
So yeah, rogue decks for the win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just say you got access to a nuke. That's the best part.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So that's my topic for this week.
Okay, so Alexis, your topic.
Just pretty much common decks of the meta, really. Just ones that are coming to rise since the ban has slowed pretty much everything down. It's not like prophecies, Dragon Ballers everywhere now.
This actually works well with the ending of Michael's topic in that sort of, while we're telling people to sort of, I'm not advocating using rogue decks because you don't stand a chance. But here we go with like your topic leads on from that in sort of what you can expect to come up against. In, for example, if you go to tournaments and such, then you can expect to come up against the decks we're about to discuss.
So Alexis, you want to kick us off?
No. No.
Yeah. Well, obviously one of the main decks we've mentioned, Black Wings. I'd say Dragoons are making a rise up as well. Dragon Ball plants. People are still, people that threw Dragon Balls to one side, might fall back picking them up again, thinking I can do some crazy stuff. Then just through the plant engine.
I would also say Agents with Earth going to 3. A lot of people are revisiting the deck even more.
Actually, one of the reviews we got from the last podcast is Sam was talking a lot about his deck.
Yeah.
And I know he'll be listening to this later and rolling in his grave, or whatever the living version of his grave is, rolling in his bed, listening to this like, oh my god, they hate me. But no, we don't hate you. It was just a comment. It was from an old friend, Aaron, who sort of he's been playing longer than me, and that is a genuinely scary thing in this game. Because there are very few people who have been playing longer than me.
But if we're talking about decks that are on the rise, sort of gaining popularity, I would also have to say that sort of the old machine decks are starting to come back, such as Gadgets and Gear. Especially just because Redox has revolutionised that strategy.
Yeah, Redox now, and I'm not going to say it makes a deck.
No, absolutely not.
It helps. The deck is independent of Redox to start with, but it does speed up the deck. It does make it into a horrific deck to come up against.
It is very good. That reviving effect, especially with Monster Reborn banned, is very invaluable.
Yeah.
any monster in your graveyard, in itself, you discard it, you can just revive it. You don't even have to banish as well.
That's it, yeah.
So you get 3 3k wall, or you can just, overlay for another, give X easily.
Yeah,
just
that's
first
it.
turn. So much smack accelerators and all that.
In my opinion, rogue decks are going up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep saying this, because to be honest, I want people to run rogue decks. I don't want to go to the YCS in October and be confronted by every single player being Prophecy or Plant Based.
Well, funny you should say that, because I think zombies can be making a comeback.
Oh yes.
And even before all these vampire supports come out, we do have access to 2 Mizukis and 2 Plague Spreaders. I waited so long for that.
Yeah,
And we even have 3 Malicious to pair with that.
that's
So
it.
you've got rank 8 spam if you just want to keep
Level 8
single-
spam.
And you can even use Destiny Draw if you want to draw cards.
Yeah, the Stratos may be gone, but the engine's still there.
That's it, yeah, if you know what you're doing, which you obviously do, and I obviously don't.
Well, the zombies are a perfect example of that. I guess to some extent, Plant Synchro.
I honestly want to see that return.
I really want to see
There's
that.
a lot of, I mean,
Not quite back
Not-
into so much force though. But
no, of course not, but like
definitely-
something
We really need Bold back.
Something I haven't seen happen
That's-
is somebody using, because I can't remember which set it was released in, but in one set, Mystical Elf Furia, and then in Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy we got Mystical Elphobia or whatever, and reveal Spore, your opponent can do nothing during their turn.
Oh yeah.
Reveal it twice, you know, and it's just like, that is
Quick Draw as well, actually, because he's a wind low level attack.
That's it, yeah. But that could effectively be a game-ending engine.
Exactly. And what we were just discussing about personal tech choices, this can be one that won't necessarily hinder your deck, but will give you a really leg up in the competition.
Yeah. Oh wait, we were talking about my tech.
I was just saying the one you just described.
I thought you were going to come up with some like massive reveal for that, and then you sort of got to the end of it and like, oh, the payoff isn't that great. Let's just go with that one.
Right.
No, that was bad.
I would say another deck is Gravekeepers.
Yes, now I got pummeled into the ground. I don't know if anybody knows William.
Unintended.
He's got crazy hair and
William who?
I don't know. He's from the Dark Arts. I don't know his last name. He's got
Right.
crazy hair and his face looks like this. It's far too small for
No one can see that, man.
Is that Will Bowler?
I think so. I sort of walked up to his table before the game. I was like, no. I hold my hands up. I'm not playing this guy. I know what will happen if I do. And he was playing Gravekeepers, and he beat me into the ground with the Descendant, I think it is. The nerf for Gravekeepers. Basically the Hand of the Six Samurai
It is.
of Gravekeepers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I've got no field, no hand.
Yeah. Even with one Royal Tribute, the deck is still very viable.
That's it, yeah.
Especially considering that Heavy Storm's gone, and Necrovelli can hurt a number of top tier decks right now, including Dragonites, Mermails, and Rulers.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, even TG, the original anti-meta deck.
TG Sun.
Yeah, we what?
TG Sun, right? One with that Rand Skill Drain and...
Oh yeah, Rush.
I think so,
Rhinos and
yeah.
Stuff like that.
I mean, even that was like the original anti-meta deck, and now it's coming back with something to two. Which one was it came back to two?
Striker, TG Striker.
Striker.
Yeah.
Sorry, I am completely lost. I went into Alexis mode and did absolutely no research for this.
That was below the belt.
Yeah, got about 10 minutes.
No,
Well, with Thunder King at 1, it just makes TGs even more viable.
exactly, because you don't need to run that many. You don't really need to run that many of them.
Yeah. And TG's a perfect example of a splashable engine
exactly.
that just works around so many decks.
You can just put. I mean, to be honest, it's only really I don't know, a 5-card engine. Really, it's just 6 if you include Bush Rhino, because basically it's Magician.
They also have that incredible trap card, TG1 M1, I think.
Yeah, when you
Yeah,
is that the
this is
one?
the back to
Creature Swap.
the trap card version
Oh,
of
right,
Creature
yeah.
Swap, where you choose what to give your
I,
opponent.
I
and what
thought you were talking about the one where
During battle
if
phase.
one of your
Yes.
monsters destroys one of your opponent's monsters, you can summon a synchro monster from your graveyard. Now imagine this, yeah, you've destroyed a monster with Halberd Cannon, it's got 4,000 attack and defense, so that's bound to happen. You activate this, you get Blade Blaster to the field as well, and that's a 4k and a 3300 beater right off the bat. Have fun your opponent's turn. Although unless
Yeah.
somebody goes antinomy on us and banishes it to risk their own life points instead. What kind of martyr are you being at this point?
There's one deck that I've not been seeing that too much, because ever since, all the back row stuff like Pulse and Bottomless being limited, and Macro going to 1, Deep Vision going to 1, it's like anti-meta. And plus it's fucking Virus at 1, so...
Yeah, and they banned Judgment, and they took us to Hell on Warning, and it's just like, hey, since the entire deck is going to be dominated by the meta, let's take away every defense that the average player has.
Yeah.
Now I understand the argument that obviously the road decks will have these 5 cards back row defense on the first turn, but it's also an offense from like 5 cards from back row for like the major decks as well. It's not specific to one player. Like if Konami got a little bit of common sense and just went, right, major decks are not allowed to play this many versions of this card. Like plant dragons, for example, can't play Solemn Judgment. Now that would make the game a little bit strange, but it would also sort of fix the game a little bit by sort of making, like, for example, they're not going to, I don't know, put Megalosa 2, even if they fucking well should. Michael, that was the dirtiest look ever. It was just like, stop talking like this, man. They're actually going to do it. But like if they say if they say a mermail deck, like, I don't know, whatever, and then they say, right, you can't use this. You're going to have to. If you went to I don't know exactly how to explain what I'm trying to put across, but like if you go to a tournament and when you fill out the deck list, and they say, right, you can't use this card, this card, this card. Replace it.
Are you trying to say a ban list for every type of deck or something? That's really impossible to implement.
No. I meant like if Konami people who are at the tournaments anyway, they go through your deck list before you enter anyway, when you're registering, and they basically just go, right, you can't use this card, this card, this card. Please replace it with adequate alternatives before the first round starts.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Thanks for telling me after I've playtested.
I mean, obviously this is something Konami will not and cannot really implement, which is a shame, because it would balance the game out. I mean, like, if you're playing a terrible deck, then Konami will be like, okay, you're playing a deck that isn't necessarily all that well known, so here you go, you can use your trap support, but I don't know, whatever. Like, you're running anti-meta, okay, 2 Thunder Kings.
I'm just going to smoke screen into something meta, just to troll them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the reason, I only play sort of a deck like Earthbound Immortals because it's nothing you can expect. Like, out of, like, I don't know, 750 people, how many people are going to be playing Earthbound Immortals? 1. Me. And to be honest, I hope that people listen to this, gain the sort of man parts and play Earthbound Immortals, because I want to have I genuinely want to counter blow the shit out of you. Which is, if your opponent attacks your life points directly, destroy the monster that did it. Yeah. I want to come up against somebody else playing Earthbound Immortals. I want to have different sort of, I don't know, a different view, somebody else's view on the deck.
I can't say so about Malefics, we don't want to come against each other.
No, Malefics, I don't want to come up against Malefics.
Yeah.
Go away, Malefics.
Okay, can you imagine the
There's only one, man.
Can you imagine the Toon mirror match, where the Toons only have to attack each other?
Yeah, yeah. I actually, and this is like my shameless product promotion for the entire thing, is I've been designing my own set of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and in it there's a card called Toon Conversion, where you pay X amount of life points, you take control of one of your monsters, and it gains Toon. And it's basically, and I want this to happen because like I want like 1 million Orica tokens to be made. So like, for example, like, okay, Toon Elemental Heroes are already in there, but like I take control of your Neos, and it becomes 2 Neos, and like you get I don't know, there's a token from your extra deck, you put it on top of it, it is 2 Neos. That would be insane.
Yeah.
And that is my product placement for this episode.
Direct attack small comrades.
Yeah.
Well, so I've noticed some players are also revisiting some old favourites from the last format to try and sort of tackle sort of what's becoming the new meta. Among those have been like Constellas, Evil Swarm. The decks really only have had Rabbit and Tenki hit from them respectively.
They're still playable.
Still very much playable, very viable.
Which card in Constellar would you use Rabbit with?
No, Rabbit and Evil Swarm's Tenki and
Constellar. Respectively.
Yeah.
Around. Okay.
And I also have to say Infinities rising up the ladder once again.
Especially with like
Transmodify.
I remember that your particular version of this deck was ridiculous, and for a little while I played the deck as well, which clearly wasn't as good as your one because you've actually tested yours. But yeah, for a little while I was running possibly one of the most broken ass decks of the format.
Well, it's just the deck's very viable, especially with most of its side deck hate being limited or banned.
Well, with Lava Vol Chain you don't have to worry about too much of it. I mean, with Launcher at one,
it just adds to it.
What's Mirage at?
3.
Yeah.
Jesus
Deck's pretty
Christ.
much unhit.
Mirage is basically just Launcher.
Launcher with legs.
Launcher with legs. Yeah, so basically the entire deck is like mill yourself to hell and then get it all back.
You don't even need to use the Mirage that much.
You don't really, but like it's like Michael said about the fan art with 3 Trishulas. Like that is actually I can't think of another deck where that is more viable.
No, absolutely not.
Because the entire deck is based around emptying the fuck out your hand and then
Make exceed loops or things.
Everything emptied from your hand to come back from the grave.
That's it, yeah.
Tenfold.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then
is
some.
the way the deck works, and then
They come back
you
and
get
they bring
everything
friends.
And search for warnings and everything like that.
Well,
So-
well, you can search for barrier, but in that deck you
Yeah.
don't really even need solemn judgment or warning. You just got them in there as text and.
No, that's they're basically fail safe if you don't finish off your opponent that turn.
Yeah. oh, what's that you're playing? This? Oh, I'm going to pay 2,000. Screw whatever you summon.
Yeah, those are some decks that are really gaining popularity, and I expect to see in local tournaments.
Or we hope to see.
Hope to see it, absolutely.
I'm going to keep hope to see up there because, like, obviously. Right, now for my cringeworthy topic of annihilation and boredom. Now, my topic, as mentioned earlier, is about number 106, and whatever they've called it now, being a prize card, being destroying numbers collections. Now, last night, about 2 o'clock in the morning when I was doing all my research for this podcast, I actually wrote a short little paragraph about why I think this is stupid, and if you'll indulge me, yes, I'll quickly read that out. As a lot of people who follow these sort of things go, numbers 106 God Hand, or whatever it's been called, has been given as a prize card at the YCS, wherever it was. And my topic is about the fact that this is destroying number hunters' collections. So far, each number card has been released in a set readily available to the public. And as far back in my memory as I can go, no YCS prize card has ever been re-released. At some point in the past, Konami probably thought, oh, number cards? 100 cards are all part of a series? Those are sure to be collectibles to someone. So yeah, this is my topic, and I know it's going to be a short one, but it is printing Big Hand only 4 times in the English language, probably more if the prize cards are the same in other continents. Really good way for Konami to reward those who don't just play competitively, but also want to collect something on the side. I mean, this might just be Konami testing the resolve of collectors. As in, hey, there's a good chance that somebody out there will likely spend a ludicrous amount of money that this card is obviously worth to boost their collection. I wouldn't like to guess at how much of the player base is collectors, but it's freakingly obvious that Konami do not care about this subcategory of gamers who just want to, collect things. So, yeah, that was my...
Yeah,
You do raise a couple of really good points there.
You easily just demonstrate that they only care about the competitive metagamers.
Well, that's all they really make money out
Yeah,
of.
exactly.
I mean,
new players and competitive
From a business
metagamers.
point of view, it's a given that they're going to care about those, and they're going to try and satisfy them at any means possible.
yeah, so reprint 106, guys.
It will
If you care about us, give us 106.
And for those competitive players listening, it is actually a very useful card to have in the extra deck.
Oh, I don't even know what it does. The only thing I care about
You're
is
talking
it.
about Big Hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I care about is it's a number card.
Basically,
I can
what
put
it does
on my
is 2 level 4s,
yeah.
and during either player's turn, you can detach both XYZ materials from this card to target one face-up monster, I think on the opponent's field or on the field. That monster's effects are negated, and I think it cannot attack or change its battle position.
This is really
It's
bad.
strange.
This is about the same as, I don't know if anybody remembers the last YCS prize card, Dick Vorzak, the King of Heavy Industry. Now that was 3 level 5s, so basically you run it in Dark Worlds, obviously.
Or extreme wind-up decks.
Oh, extreme wind-up decks, yeah.
Very extreme.
But, like, that was released once as an Ultra and 3 times as a Super. Now, and I mean on the same sort of event. They're not going to reprint prize cards, so for someone like myself who genuinely wants to complete the number collection, even if some people do state that C numbers and numbers over 100 do not count, you know, I'm going to have to go out and find somebody who's willing to sell that card.
The way I see it, they're going to do it in like probably a few years' time. It's going to be a long time till they start being
Yeah, I mean, they'll probably reprint it after all the rest of the numbers have been released. I mean, there are 56 known, 42 released, of which I have got 40.
Yeah.
Minusing 106 from that equation.
Yeah. Because when, say, Synchros died down, there was reprints of like some of the big cards like much later.
Yeah, like just recently we got Katasa and whatever that fucking Karakuri one was.
Buri.
I don't genuinely get the point of Karakuris, but I'm sure there is a point to them. But
it's still pretty nice, man.
But like, it's just they released that Star Eater card, and of course Underworld Fighter Balmung or whatever it is in Judgment of Light. It's just like, hey guys, Synchro Monsters are still a thing. Surprise! No, that was probably them just, I don't know what.
Remember when they released Synchros as a common, and you'd open the booster and you'd see the white.
Yeah, and you think, wow,
and you think, oh yes, this is really good. And it turns out to be a common.
I can't actually remember a common Synchro.
I do. It was the Laval's level 5 Synchro.
Oh, Flodress.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, it wasn't Flodress. I don't know what it was.
I don't remember what it was.
Oh, hold on, give me a second. I know what this is. This is level 5. I know it's level 5.
Yeah, and it's not really viable outside of Laval's because it does have decent stats. It only gets its effects.
It has two effects. It has one effect for something and one effect for something else.
Dragon one.
No. It's a warrior looking thing.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
Well, anyway, that was just an example. That's the one that comes to mind.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm sure there were others that I cannot also remember.
But that's a Draw Tunnel one, isn't it?
No.
Wasn't a Draw Tunnel? Oh no, there was something else.
That's given me a good idea for my next topic, by the way, for next week or whenever we next do a podcast.
Oh, cool.
Is that in a lot of booster packs? Actually, I'm just not going to talk about it now. Really.
Well, by the way, guys, the card was Laval Jewel Slasher.
Yeah, Jewel Slasher, of course, a common Synchro monster. It's like when they first started releasing common XYZ monsters, and people were just like, oh.
I know, like rares as well.
Yeah. Is there anything else to add, or?
I don't know, unless you guys have got views on this. I mean, Michael, you mentioned that there was a lot of important points raised there.
I'm sorry?
You did mention there were a couple of important
points raised there.
Yeah, points raised.
Well, yeah, just
in my little bit of a rant.
I just think that Konami's intentions with this are still unclear. Same with the ban list. You know, it's just one of those things that we just have to wait and see, and just see where they're going with this. Because it could be that this card will get a reprint. It could be that it does not. It could be like you said, this is just some sort of test to see if number hunters are certainly serious, and if so, maybe they'll start to cater to their needs more.
Yeah, I mean they did release Number Hunters where they gave us 7 new number cards, and
they even named it Number Hunters.
Yeah, although to be honest, calling it Number Hunters is a bit of an oxymoron, because to be honest, you only get 7 numbers out of a 30 card set.
Yeah.
So calling it something more like, I mean, you get more chronomalies than you get.
Well, it's implied that people are going to start to collect them when you release, different numbers.
Well, that's it, yeah. But to be honest, if they don't, if it comes to like, I've got, I don't know, 106 out of 107 numbers, and then they just go, haha, we're not going to release the last one, I'm just going to be like, fuck you, Konami, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. That'll be like a day.
It's just like that little blank spot in your mind, isn't it?
Yeah, I
an empty void in your heart.
I don't like those.
Well, the closest you can do is get an Oracle version.
Oh god,
Unfortunately.
yeah, unfortunately that is. I mean, to be honest,
we do not speak of such things.
No, we can. Because I've got an Oracle playmat here, and somewhere either here or at my parents' house, I've got an entire folder of
I wish you could use Oracle.
Yeah, but it would break the game.
I know. I don't. Some of them look really good.
Can either of you explain to me why it is different thickness cards are an issue?
Probably ones, for example.
The reason for that is because when you're shuffling your deck and or cutting your deck or your opponent's deck, say I'm shuffling, you're shuffling my deck, and I've got a few promo cards in there.
Like you did with the YCS.
Yeah, where I had where I was running 6 Samurai and I had a Hobby League reinforcement of the army.
Oh yeah.
And my opponent had an issue with it. Basically, the idea is that the card is of a different thickness. As a result, I'm more likely to draw the said card. It's more likely to be in my opening hand.
Yeah,
And,
when you shuffle on average, the average shuffling technique will make the thicker cards rise to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's even when I give my deck to my opponent for them to shuffle. So that's basically the only quarrel I have with it.
Yeah, when you give your deck to someone else to shuffle, they normally shuffle in such a way where the thicker cards rise to the top, which is why you see some people choosing certain rarities for the cards they want to draw. For the cards they want to least likely draw, they want commons and ultimates because they're pretty much naturally lowest thickness, whereas higher rarities, secrets and ultras, those are thicker ones. So
it's a pretty rule of thumb basically that if you want to draw a card more often, you're going to have to increase its rarity to like super ultimate, super ultra, or secret.
I genuinely believe this is more hearsay than actual fact, because I mean,
it's
obviously like the shuffling.
It's a rumor. I don't know.
The shuffling
it makes it more light. It doesn't make it guaranteed.
No, absolutely. It is down to player preference.
Well, obviously, that's shuffle.
Sleeves,
like, for example, then you
thickness.
cut the deck, and then it could be anywhere from top, middle, bottom.
Yeah, but it's down to sleeves and card thickness as well, and shuffling technique. So
oh yeah, for example, the last time I actually sleeved my entire deck, which it was a long time ago, I had one, they were entirely in black sleeves, and one of the sleeves was about like so much smaller you couldn't even really see it. But it was a bit bigger than the rest of the sleeves, only by a little bit. Like I've got a miscut over my Archfiend, which is slightly bigger than the average card.
That's your extra deck. That shouldn't matter though.
No, it was main deck.
Oh, main deck. Oh, right.
Now, of course, I did eventually get called up on it, and then I switched it around, and it was okay. We just restarted the duel, but
some people are okay with it, but some people, and this has happened to me before, they're losing or they're in a bad state. They see that you've got a card that's slightly thicker, and they will push for a game loss.
This is called rule sharking.
Yeah,
like,
I do not approve of this.
I got this at YCS when I was playing with. Now I'm going to do a shout out apparently because this is what you do when you mention somebody's name in the podcast. To Thomas Moran, who did me two bottomless trap holes with the artwork from Massive Trap Hole. Now these cards were not inherently thicker than any of the other cards in my deck. They were all sleeved. The sleeves were all the same. They were brilliant sleeves. I just bought them for like £9, and they were a really good quality and shit. But because they had different artwork, my opponent had an issue with it because he knew he was about to lose when I bottomless his High Priestess. I mean, when you got an Earthbound on the field and your last resort is a Priestess, you're gonna lose. So anyway,
you're gonna have a bad time.
He called up the judge. I got game loss because I couldn't replace both of them. I don't know if this was a genuine thing on his part or if he was just being a dick. He said, I can replace one of them for you right now.
Okay, replace the one on the field.
No, and then he offered me to replace one of them for me, like into my deck. And then after that...
He probably gambled there.
I mean, if I'd had one, but like, obviously I had two because it was that two at the time.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm pretty sure you got enough one there, mate. You're just being a dick, aren't you? Because you know I can't replace it. But yes, rule sharking is something I genuinely just like. The next time I get rule sharked, I'm pretty sure I'm going to resort to violence.
It's just people being overly serious. It shouldn't be so that. Yes, follow the rules, but you don't.
I think a lot of people, a lot of the time, forget that this is a game, and should be treated as such, even if I don't know you. Like obviously,
I never see them smile. I'm like. Dude,
yeah,
it's really fun.
At the top tables, they never smile. That's another thing.
That's it. I mean, okay. So,
I get that this is a serious game.
It's serious, but it's not like poker, for example. At a poker table, if you smile, you are fucked because everybody else then realizes he drew double aces.
No, I've lost, man.
That's it. Yeah, but like in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's a game. You're meant to be having fun while playing it. You should. Like anybody out there who's playing this
Granted, this isn't with everybody.
Of course.
But
okay, yeah.
The vast majority.
I'll admit, there are some pretty serious prizes. When I went to YCS Sheffield in September last year, the second place was a freaking iPad. I don't even remember what first prize is, but if second prize is an iPad,
first place,
Jesus Christ.
First place should have been like a paid trip to Wales or something.
Well, I think that the main thing about coming first, I mean, I think it's the main thing about coming top, somewhere in the top sort of region, is that you get paid, you get your travel and accommodation paid for the next step up, like for like intercontinental or European, I think we just had
Something
it.
like that.
Then you get paid sort of accommodation and travel to internationals or whatever the next one is, because like there's nationals and then, like for example
Regionals, nationals.
yeah, regionals, and like regionals you don't really get that great a prize because it's not that well funded, but like nationals, then you get paid travel and accommodation to internationals, you know, which I think is a good prize, to be honest. But yeah.
But it's not going to be like cash, like Magic the Gathering.
Well,
No, they can't have cash prizes
No.
because then the game counts as gambling.
Yeah. Well, prize support is an entirely different matter.
Yeah, which we've just said is bullshit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, I personally agree with the Shonen Jump prize cards. Like, you know, you got Crush Card Virus, you got Gold Sock, you got Cyberstein, you got stuff like
Doom Calibur Knight.
Yeah, Doom Calibur Knight. You also get Dave Volscarf, which isn't that well known, but it was a Shonen Jump prize card. And then they reprinted them all. Why won't Konami reprint the YCS promo cards, even if it's just in like a limited edition one-off pack, like the original premium pack? You know, why can't we have something like that? You know, when you go to World Championships, you get and this is, I've only ever been there once, and you get a booster pack, which the one I got was you get a rare version of every card. You know, the first 9 structure decks. You get a rare version of each of those, the main cards from that, so you get a rare version of Vampire Genesis, a rare version of whatever. And, you know, that was a legitimate thing, because, like, they're giving people who, obviously everybody had the chance to get them. It was just sort of like, here's us saying, here's an exclusive thing that nobody else in the world will have. You know, so why they won't do that with the other stuff that we actually want?
It could be that Konami just wants to make their championship players feel more valuable.
Well, yeah, but the thing is people who, like, I mean,
I don't agree with this view.
I'm not
saying
railing against these people at all, but like, you know, when people realise they've got a £300 card, they're not going to keep it. They're going to sell it to the first sucker who wants to buy it for 300 quid.
And it gets reprinted and they get it back.
Well, it's like, I mean, I recently sold, and this is off topic, completely off topic, but I recently sold 3 copies of a Magic the Gathering card called Black Lotus.
I've heard that.
They can go for grabs.
If anybody knows exactly what that is, they are the most expensive trading card in the world.
I'll just say this. Once I went to a friend, went to a Magic the Gathering sort of like just a little thing where it's like a little tournament thing where this overbridge person passed the cards around.
Oh yeah,
and
it's
stuff.
called drafting.
Yeah, that's the one. I just heard some like business people, some guys in the city, they'll just talk about a couple of cards, they'll just trade for like a plasma TV or something. I'm just like, this is around like pot of duality at the time.
It's like a long time back, when I first got Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and Halo Reach, I traded them to Mark Simon. I can't remember his nickname now, but I had it called something to do with him being Welsh or something. But no, I traded it to him for practically my entire Cyberdark set. I got two Cyberdark Impacts, the Secret Rares from TACED. Now, these were only released twice. They were released once in TACED as a Secret Rare, so they're ridiculously difficult to pull. And then they're dual terminal cards as well, so also ridiculously difficult. Now, I got 2 of these, along with basically the entire Cyberdark deck, for Halo Reach and Assassin's Creed 3. Because, to be honest, at the time I was more interested in having that set of cards. But yeah, there are sort of things that, you know, cards that can go for the same price as, say, a laptop or a telly.
Yeah.
But only if you're stupid.
Too true.
Like, I will trade you the soul of my unborn child for your 106. In my case, it would be that 106. Because I know I ain't having kids.
The world is a big place, don't push it.
Precisely.
Yeah, people have done that. I bet
they probably have. And
cards for cards.
Yeah, exactly. Cards for cards, cards for cash occasionally. And I'm actually not going to mention names here on the podcast, especially for this one person in particular. But this is a person I have a special dislike for and no longer sell cards to. Basically, I sold 2 Effect Veilers for £7. Now, this was a stupid move on my part.
What rarity were the Vaylors?
One was a rare, one was a super.
Okay.
And I sold them to him for £7. Now, this was stupid on my part because they're worth a lot more than that, but I realised he probably just wanted 2 Vaylors, and I'm all for helping out the little guys. This guy is not a little guy. He turned around and sold them both for £10. Now, I've seen this happen at tournaments and all that, and I've actually downloaded a video about vendors at nationals. Like, they set their prices before they get there. They don't like it when other people are selling on their turf because it takes away from their business.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I've got an agreement with vendors. I'm allowed to sell my cards at events as long as I go and put some money back into the vendors. You know, this is sort of an agreement I have, as well as sort of other agreements I've got with other sort of people.
So no one's getting a real loss.
Exactly.
Everybody wins.
That's it, everybody wins. It's an everybody wins thing. But like, when somebody buys something off you for a ludicrously cheap amount, which I just admit to, which I'll just sell anyway, because to be honest, I don't need Vaylors, I don't care that much. Especially when you consider how much they really don't negate these days. But like, when he turns around, literally within 5 seconds, he sold
That's
one
rude.
for £3 more. That is possibly the rudest bullshit ever.
Right.
People also do that to younger, more inexperienced players.
Yeah.
When they get very lucky with a booster pack pull.
I see this happen at the Dark Arts, and I've actually done this a couple of times. Now, there are several people who buy cards off other players at the Dark Arts, and as you're aware, they are rip-off artists. Yeah, and you know me, I sit on my table with all my cards on it, people come on over and have a look. And there was this, I think his name's Andrew, is a kid, his age, and is obviously new to the game. And one of these guys comes over and he goes, "Oh, I'll buy your, what was it, light imprisoning mirror for like 50p."
Yeah, I know that one.
And it was just like, no, it's obviously worth more than that. And I turned around to him and look, no, offer him more or leave.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
You know, this is it. Like, I'm, although I don't officially have a position with Konami, because if I did, it would be awesome. But it's sort of a thing of,
we'll have to edit some of this content if that was the case.
You know, offer him something that's actually worth it for the card. And he came away with £1.20 for a light imprisoning mirror. Now I'm, you know, okay, that's still about 80p less what it's worth.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the common version from Gladiator's Soul.
It's a bit more respectable.
It wasn't necessarily in that great condition. It looked a bit used, but still, 50p. No.
50p is kind of an insult. If you ask
It
me.
is an insult. It's an insult.
It's like
to
online prices. 'Cause I mean, online, you know, it's just like no posted packaging. It's just
Exactly.
like stacks
People
and stacks.
can't just take a random number online
And
and go with
half the
that.
time, you know, if they say it's mint, it's a tiny bit used, and even a postage, you know, it's not going to be guaranteed to be mint.
Now, there's something I'd like to say here about eBay, is that there's one seller who actually does really, really good prices on their stuff, and that's it.
Oh yeah.
That's a vendor called Unicorn Cards.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Now these guys, and I didn't hear about these until I met my mate Jacob, who moved to God knows where, but they have got the best prices for everything. Like, seriously, if you're looking for, you won't find fairer prices anywhere on the internet, except unless you're going to places like those bargain bin websites like TCG Player, the one that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro app, Yu-Gi-Oh! Light, whatever it is app, says to go to, because like you can pick up, I don't know, God cards for a penny there, which is obviously sort of an insult to those who are selling it, but it's because they've got surplus. They've got surplus of God cards. But like Unicorn Cards, if you just want a one-off, or if you want like a select amount of set of cards or whatever, you go to these guys, because they have got the best prices, and they even do deals.
It is. I mean, it's a given with anything you're buying. Shop around, look at everything. Don't take the first price you encounter, because it will not necessarily be the best one.
Of course, when I pulled, and this is me going back on awesome mode, is that when I pulled a Draco sack at the Nationals me and Michael attended, I had that for like 10 seconds, and I traded it for number 40 and about £70 in cash.
Yeah.
Now,
you wouldn't have that for that long.
to be honest, £70 in cash, considering I went up there with virtually nothing except my entry fee.
Profit.
That's insane for one piece of cardboard. I didn't care about Draco's sack. I still don't care about Draco's sack.
So you shouldn't.
Exactly. I mean, the only deck I was viably ever going to run it in is Evil Heroes. Now, Evil Heroes, a lot of people are like, okay, obviously I've lost the only support they've got, so I'm now not running it. But Puppet Master, pay 2,000 life points, summon 2 things from the grave, 2 Evil Hero Militia Sage. Bam, Big Eye Gaios, Dragosack.
That's pretty decent.
It is horrifically. You got to pay lots to get that combo to work.
It's kind of like sidekicks. You're paying loads of life points to bring out all your dudes.
But exactly. But then, even then, once they're back in the graveyard, Dark Calling, you get a horrific amount of evil hero fusion monsters. Oh, we should probably wrap this up at some point, shouldn't we?
Again, sort of linking in with what you were saying earlier.
Going on a tangent there.
Sort of linking with what you were saying to earlier. There are many ideas around there.
Yes.
Don't just stop at the easiest one.
Yeah. Don't start with Mesa. I beg of thee.
And this your wallet warrior.
Huh?
This your wallet warrior.
Oh, there's people who just go. I mean, I know a guy who actually did that. He only just started, and he just went out there and bought all the most expensive cards from eBay, and he sucks at it. I beat him every time. I don't care how expensive.
So you just got like a random deck with like.
Oh no! He went out and bought I think it was.
A full deck.
Yeah, a full deck, like the most expensive deck he could find, because he was like, oh, obviously this deck has done well. May as well just buy this shit out.
Well, if you're going to go meta, in my opinion, don't just go cookie cutter. You could always do so much better than whatever.
Yeah, because if you go cookie cutter, you lose the respect of everybody on the TeamNeosphere podcasts ever.
Original and proud.
Precisely, and I think we'll cut there.
Okay, this has been TeamNeosphere. Rate, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Yeah, hopefully we'll keep going with the weekly podcast. This is a regular thing now.